Welcome to the Raw Spotlight podcast, where we feature inspiring leaders in the B2B space and share their unique stories. Let's get started with the show.
Hi, welcome to the Raw Spotlight, where we explore leadership, entrepreneurship, and digital marketing. I'm Emily Au, co-founder of Ready Outwork. Joined by me today is my business partner, Victor Huynh. In this series, we share insights on growing a business, the evolution of digital marketing, and key strategies for success. In our previous episodes, we talked about the power of custom website design, how website marketing services helped us scale, and key lessons we learned in digital marketing and web design. If you haven't checked it out, please be sure to give it a listen. Today, we are recapping day 3 of our SEO conference in Vietnam, and I'm thrilled to have Victor join me again to continue to share our insights. But before we start, I do have a message from our sponsor, Ready Outwork. This episode is brought to you by Ready Outwork, where we deliver uniquely tailored digital marketing services to facilitate the long-term growth of your organization. At Ready Outwork, we combine data-driven insights with innovative design to help your organization succeed in the digital age. Our team of experts specializes in custom websites, design, and marketing. We're here to help you amplify your traditional marketing with innovative and unexpected strategies. To learn more, visit readyoutwork.com. Let Ready Outwork discover your organization's full potential. So we're continuing our SEO conference recap. I am joined once again by my business partner and co-founder, Victor Huynh. From our early days as a garage startup to becoming a leading website design company in Los Angeles, Victor has been instrumental in helping businesses grow through branding, digital strategy, custom WordPress websites, and custom Shopify websites. His expertise has guided our clients through the ever-changing digital landscape, delivering real results. So Victor, let's dive in and welcome back to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in again. Day 3 of the SEO Mastery Summit, and we're going to continue conversations. So Emily, was there anything that jumped out to you?
Well, today it was set up a little bit differently compared to day 1 to today's the third day. Our second day was pretty much 2 very heavy topics, but today there were smaller topics broken up, a little bit more, right? And then they were much shorter, so it's a little easier to digest. I know the two of us, there was only one session that we overlapped, but we pretty much, went to different sessions throughout the whole day. Yeah. What stood out to you the most today?
I think to me, what stood out the most was a conversation about YouTube. So I know there was a previous session about YouTube, but today's YouTube session really talked about personal branding and talked about really a mindset of how to approach YouTube. The speaker today was really not focused on perfection, but really about, he called it velocity, right? How fast you can get stuff out. And he got to a point where he's cranking out 2 websites, not 2 websites, two videos a day, and shared a lot of tools to use in editing. And really, I think, and I agree with him, as we journeyed into our podcast, it literally took us over a year, maybe 2 years, that we've been contemplating on the sidelines, waiting how to perfectly produce and launch a podcast. We spent too much money buying professional cameras and lenses and lighting and everything. And honestly, at the end of the day, what really got us across the line is this Blue Yeti microphone and a laptop, right? Lighting is optional. I think we're making do with what we have here in Saigon and in Vietnam, right? From our hotel room, but it's really about the content.
Yeah.
Right. It's really about the content. No one's gonna not watch because your lighting wasn't perfect. So I think that's one of the biggest takeaways, which I agree with wholeheartedly. And for him, the other thing is that people worry too much about vanity metrics. We talked about vanity metrics in previous episodes as well. Like the way he explained it was, look, I flew all the way out here to Southeast Asia just to talk to 50 of you in a room, right? If I can get a video up that has 300 views, that's already like, 6 times more, right? Than all of you guys sitting here, right? Granted, average view of my video is like about 5 minutes. So it's not bad. But if you take that 300 and you multiply that by 5 minutes, then you do 2 videos. I mean, 300 is pretty minimal, right? If you do 2 videos a day and then you multiply by 30, I mean, that's going to really, really add up over time, right? And the other concept is trust, right? If someone's going to do business with you, it's really about building trust. And the more touch points you have, the more they see your face, the more likely they're going to do business with you. So that's really the concept of, thinking about YouTube and personal branding, right? People do business with people. I think that's a pretty cliche, but everyone agrees that people do business with people, right? So really leveraging YouTube, and that's also gotten me to kind of think about what I'm going to do when I get back, and I do want to commit to creating a separate channel just for myself, right? As Victor, outside of the brand, and that's something that I've been telling a lot of our clients as well. Like personal branding is really important.
Right.
And that question kept coming up during, in multiple conversations about when it comes to YouTube and personalities, right? Especially with bigger companies, can they, can you have multiple people representing a brand, especially if you have a marketing manager that, might leave the company at some point in their career, right? So that gets a little tricky, but for the most part, if you can afford it, if you're a owner operator or you're a mid-sized company and your CEO or founder is willing and available, that's the best case scenario.
Right. Right.
You have both. A lot of these big brands, they have both. Facebook right now, and you look at Tesla, you look at all these big founders, they all have a lot more followers on social media, whether you like them or not. Now, we're not going to get political here, right? But if you look at just the numbers, the brand versus the personal, they have a lot more followers on their
Right.
personal thought leadership type of content. So, people do business with people. So, I think that's something I'm going to commit to as soon as I get back, to figure out how to get, Victor Huyn's YouTube channel up and start working on, some of my content and not overthink it, right? What's the fastest way I can get something out, and I can worry about quality later, as I kind of figure things out. So I think the biggest takeaway from that session was not to overthink it.
Yeah, one of the other conversation that we like a conference that we had, not today, but they talked about, how does a B2B business apply in this? It could be a manufacturer, right? A CEO, CMO of a manufacturer, B2B manufacturer, and they can just, go into the space and just start talking about, their machinery or, the process on how they're producing their items, even maybe talking about some of the pain points or challenges that they have and how they resolve that along the way. And, how are they using this process to, help solve some of their customers' pain point as well. And that could be, really good content, video content that can live in YouTube.
Yeah. That jogged my memory as well, like with
Yeah.
the case studies, B2B
Right.
case studies, right? So you just sit down, story time, if you're providing a service, then you kind of explain how you solved the problem and, what was the outcome. Or if you're manufacturing, like you said, letting people see a visual of what happens, right? And then because especially in manufacturing, you're always solving problems, custom machinery, custom process, and that usually comes when you run into a problem. I mean, with business, you run into a problem and you have to be resourceful, you have to be scrappy, and you solve that problem and you end up with a happy customer.
Right.
Most businesses, successful businesses, that's how they evolve, right? And if you can tell that story, I think it's a very solid argument for customers that are kind of trying to do business with you, right? Whether or not they
Hmm.
should be trusting someone like that. And, you just really have to show your ability to solve problems. That's really what people are looking for when they're looking to
Hmm.
do business with people is like, are you capable of solving problems?
Right, right. Yeah. So I know we split up during the day. I did go to an AI SEO conference
Mhm.
while you went to another one.
Yeah.
Well, AI actually is, basically a really top buzzword here. I think any AI related topic was, a lot of people gravitated towards. And
Mhm.
it was quite interesting on, the speaker talking about um, how to rank within the AI platforms like, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, and all that, platform that we have. And I do want to touch on, and I think that also relates back to video that we're talking about, is as we're thinking for ranking within AI, right? LLM, we want to
Mhm.
make sure that we're answering, we're having content that answers optimization and then also citation optimization as well. So we want to make sure that future content that's being published as a business, that you're answering a query.
Mhm.
So if you are publishing a video, for your business, your B2B business, it might be answering something that, people frequently search for online, and in the hopes that it will also get picked up on these AI search bots as well. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and and how a B2B can leverage the video is once the video is published, make sure there's a full script of that video, and it's also embedded into your business website or blog, to leverage all that content and keyword. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think everyone would agree that, whether they themselves or someone they know is now using AI, ChatGPT, Claude, all these platform Perplexity to query, to
Yep.
answer their questions, right?
Right.
And so slowly, that's going to start impacting Google. So it's not only about search engine optimization anymore. Now it's like, LLM optimization,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right. Right. Yeah, and they
Hmm.
call it AI optimization for now, but we don't
Right.
know how this is really going to evolve. But yeah, something that we need to keep an eye on.
So it's like a baby right now that doesn't have an official name yet.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Everyone's just kind of throwing whatever at it, and then I guess we'll predict, right, in the future, if we come back to this video, that it's gonna have an official name that's probably gonna be different from AI optimization, right? Because it's kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
AIO, I don't know, SEO, AIO.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we'll see. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to go to that one too, but unfortunately, there were so many great events,
Right.
so we kind of had to split up there.
I think you went to a B2B lead gen.
B2B
Yeah.
lead gen was kind of cool. So the biggest takeaway I I got from that conversation was really about reviews and how to think about reviews, right? So the speaker was talking about, I mean, especially with B2B, right? When is the best time to ask? Is it when you start a project or a service in at a certain milestone or at the completion of the project? And for him it's like, no, it should happen throughout the process. And what's interesting, what I really liked about how he thought about it is that he has a 5-star rating,
Mhm.
right? So as you start working with clients, there's going to be wins. And so in the SEO world, there's like, okay, I want a keyword for you, or I did something, I helped the client reach a certain metric KPI, right? And if it's like, let's say a 2-star event that happened, even if I just started and I won a keyword for this client that we initially talked about, and the client's happy. There's an emotional meter, right?
Mhm.
So anytime there's a positive emotional event that happens between the client and the vendor, is when they look at the star rating. And if it's like, let's say a 2 star, that's your first win. You ask, hey, can I get a written review? Right? And that's the best time to ask, right? When they're high, when their emotion is high and feeling positive about it. And then he said he also evaluates whether or not this is a talkative person or not, right? Some clients will give you like a 1 word or 3 word review and give you a star rating and call it a day. And for him, he had a client that wrote 350 words. And he goes, okay, this person likes to overshare. They're storytellers, so this will be perfect. So he keeps a special eye on these types of reviewers. And then the next high, maybe they hit another even bigger milestone, and it's a positive experience. This person may be at a 3 star emotionally, right, or a 4 star. That's when they reach out and ask for a video review. And again, that's the best time to ask, right? So their customer facing people have this scale that they look for positive emotional events happening with their customers. And then that's when they ask for a video, and the chances of getting are going to be a lot higher. Obviously, there's a chance there are some people that just will not, right? But then the chances of them giving a review is a lot higher when there's a positive action that's happening, right? Engagement. And then it doesn't end there, like when the third stage is really when you start asking for referrals. So, hey, who are your buddies in the industry that you think will be a good fit for us, right? So it's not straight out asking for a referral from day one, because that's a really, obviously that's not going to work for most. You're probably going to get turned down more than that. So systemizing and thinking about reviews and when to ask and how to look at it so that it's scalable and you're able to give it to your account managers or your project managers or your sales team, then they know when to ask, and it becomes a scalable process of getting these reviews. And the reason why he's so adamant about the reviews is because he's actually serving his customers as well. So he has a very data approach to how he does things. So customers are like, he lost a deal and he talks to the client, go, well, your competitor gave me video testimonials and it was very relatable, so I went with them instead of you, right? And that's when he's like, okay, so how do I solve this problem, right? So I think that was a really insightful perspective, right? It makes sense, but for the most part, most of us don't think that detail and actually execute. I think that's the biggest difference. Is some people, like, they'll hear it and go, oh, okay, that's cool, but how many are actually going to execute? I think that's the big one. So I thought that was really cool in terms of that B2B. And that's important for B2B lead gen, because that's going to help you not only organically for inbound, right? When we say inbound, outbound, inbound is when people find you. So testimonials, both in SEO or on marketplaces, right? Or like Google, Google My Business, right? The reviews there. And then also it can be used as a sales tool during your process, right? In B2B, you're giving people, like, real people experiences. I know a lot of people are going to say it's hard, but if you have a system in place, you got it, that will now give your team some kind of a North Star to follow. It becomes a lot more manageable, right? We tend to look at things not as systems, but as individual. Oh, that person's never going to give me reviews, so I'm never going to do it. But once you have a system in there, you can start doing it, and that's going to be important for lead gen, right? And actually conversion as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, talking about system, I attended another conference about automation within, marketing, marketing and sales, really. So once you have that type of system in place, um, it doesn't have to be manual. You don't have to ask for these reviews, every single checkpoint. It could be automated, like with a marketing agency like us, we can help set automations for you. And depending on what checkpoint, if this, then that, we can set up when certain things will be triggered. So I went to, that presentation, and I thought that was really interesting. She talked about, there's a lot of things you can automate, but there are certain items that you should lean into humanity. So if there's more of like the human touch, don't apply the automation, but when you can set up a lot of the easy work that can do a lot of help you with a lot of time savings, that's when you really have automation in place. You spoke about like with the five rule of automation. I think the first one was always start with the problem. Don't automate just because of automating. There should be a problem first, and then you're trying to fix the problem with your automation. And I think rule two and three always assume rule one is, your AI currently sucks. And then you always have to assume that your current system sucks. And with that in mind, then you can always improve upon it. But, she was talking to us marketers because, within marketing, it moves so quickly. Whatever you're doing yesterday it's not going to fly tomorrow or next month. So that was her premise in terms of, always assume that it sucks. And then some of the automation, don't try to perfect it, the first time around, because it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And then lastly, focus on like little tiny automation and wins rather than doing a whole set of automation. Um, so yeah, I think that was really interesting in terms of um, automation. And then one of the nuggets that she dropped was, within LinkedIn, how it helps her with automation and sales is she uses a tool called
Mm,
Harper.ai. So
mm.
that helps her scrape, some leads, potential leads that can assist her in her sales process.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's good for B2B. Yeah. Which conference did you go to when I was in the automation, Victor?
Automation. I think I did the B2B lead gen when you were in automation, I think, or was it the video that I
I think it
already
was the
spoke about
YouTube. The
the
YouTube,
YouTube? Yeah.
yeah, growing a YouTube channel, which
Yeah.
you lightly cover earlier in this
Yeah.
podcast.
I guess the third one was more like sales driven. And I think the biggest thing, and I tell this to the internal team too, we're all salespeople, right? Even though we don't think
Yeah.
we're salespeople, everything we do involves sales, right? In life, getting a job, keeping our significant other happy, right? Um, you know, it's as the moment we open our eyes in the
Mhm.
morning, we have to figure out how to sell something to get what we want. So it's really that biggest takeaway is really understanding like psychology, relating to the customer, objection handling,
Mhm.
and I think the biggest challenge for the speaker was he's trying to get a bunch of technical SEO people to think about sales,
Right. Yeah.
which kind of goes hand in hand.
Right.
Um, you know, because as a SEO, you're convincing people to come to the website and do something, right? So you really have to have a sales mentality, even as a SEO,
Mhm.
as a marketer, right? If you understand sales, then you understand marketing.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was pretty cool how he structured the persona, um, the buyer persona, right? And it's not only about because a lot of times when we talk about personas in marketing, we list out their demographic, age, gender, political affiliation, and
Location. Yeah.
location, income level, things like that.
Mhm.
And he goes into more psychographic, but based on the transaction.
Mhm.
So, what is this person trying to solve, and what would they be thinking about as they're making this purchase or not making this purchase, right? So, identifying those things together to complete that buyer persona,
Mhm.
and not just a generic, demographic, psychographic, but really thinking about as in terms of what we're selling, right? Whether it's um, manufactured goods or a service, right? What is it that, how is this persona going to interact either positively or negatively towards this transaction? And then kind of listing it out as we're figuring it out. So I thought that was kind of a nice reminder that we need to go a little bit further, not only look at just generic information, but really dig a little deeper into what's going through the customer's mind as they're making that decision.
Okay. Well, last question for me, Victor. What
Yeah.
was the biggest lesson today for you?
Biggest lesson, we covered a lot. I think it's just do it. Just do it.
Okay. Are you
Yeah,
referring to the YouTube?
the
Yeah.
YouTube, and it's funny. This guy, I'm having a hard time remembering his name, but he has a nickname.
hmm
His SEO Jesus, and he literally has the Jesus haircut and the
I saw
beard.
him. I wasn't in that
Yeah,
webinar,
and
seminar, but I saw him.
and I think he does a really good job with personal branding because people remember that,
hmm
right? People
So
remember
that's
that.
literally his handle.
I think that's his handle, but that's
Okay.
his AKA, right?
Okay.
When
Well,
that's his stage name, if you will,
I
right?
see.
Um, so, and I guess that inspired me too, because I don't know if you guys follow me on LinkedIn, but I have this like very old man headshot, very formal, right? And then someone made a comment like, "Oh, I didn't recognize you," and then they recognized the hat.
Right.
So, after that, at the end of the day, I went on my LinkedIn and I updated to a profile picture of me wearing the hat, so people will actually recognize me. It's a little personal branding going on,
Yeah.
something to think about,
Right.
right?
That's
People
important.
that do it well, right? If you look at your online personalities, your influencers, they really have it nailed down, whether it's the glasses, the hat. Alex Hormozy has a little thing on his nose, with a beard and, tank top. You recognize him right away, right?
Mhm.
So, for those of you thinking, slowly getting convinced with personal branding, something to think about, right? Now I have to kind of glue this hat to my head now, it's, but
Sounds
yeah,
good. We need to order more of
marketing
that.
hat,
Sounds
my marketing hat. So I'll be like a cartoon character, like I'll have like a whole bunch of hats and in the closet and they're all the same hat.
yeah. Okay, well, that concludes today's episode, but
Yeah.
our journey doesn't stop here. So, Victor and I are excited to continue more to cover more of our SEO conference in Ho Chi Minh City here.
Hmm.
We'll be bringing you the latest insights and trends from the conference. We have a couple more days left, so be sure to subscribe to the Raw Spotlight so you don't miss out. Victor, remind listeners where they can find you with your new hat.
My LinkedIn. So look for the hat, Victor Huynh, Huynh. Um, And if we didn't connect in person and you found me through this episode, make sure you mention it because there are a lot of people cold outreach, outbound stuff that I really am trying really hard to maintain the quality of my connections on LinkedIn. So I don't want to have a whole bunch of people that I don't know on there, right? So that's one thing I'm doing with my account. So make sure you mention it, and then so that way I can understand that that's where you found me, and the way we can connect and become friends.
Sounds good. So
Okay.
look him up on LinkedIn. But for expert website marketing and custom website design, visit readyhourwork.com. We'd love to help you grow your business. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Raw Spotlight podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.